All right, so let's get going before we lose any more time. And welcome to Mindful Cardio and Strength. And today I wanted to start out on the mat and just do 5 minutes or so of kind of getting connected in on, with the core. And then we'll come up to our feet and do a little more of the mindful cardio piece, the movement piece. So come on down to your space there. I didn't put on my shoes yet for that reason. I may do some switching around with my space as I go. But I have been doing a lot of walking here. So maybe you've been getting in your walking or hiking, and here it's cobblestones, and it's just interesting to feel all the muscles really adapt to that. And also sometimes the back. So I thought, you know what, doing a little bit of um, Pilates here might be really nice. So just getting into your nice seated position. And then I'm going to start pulling back in the belly, getting back behind the sit bones and getting nice and round with the low back. I'll bring my hands right behind the knees here. Arms nice and broad. It feels nice in the shoulders too, to just breathe into and open up. So if nothing else, if you'd like to go down a little bit further, just really coming into belly, breath. And then I'm going to roll back up again and then let those belly muscles release. And then let's come back again. So back behind, can feel like I'm more on my sit bone or behind the sit bones on the tail. And then kind of, again, it's nice to have something really cushy. If I were going to be here long term, I would need a little more cush on these tiles. This is okay for today. Being nice and round and bringing that roundness up into the shoulders again. Nice and broad in the back and wide in the front. Breath. And then go ahead and come back up. Then bring the hands to the front. Maybe bring the legs in just a little bit with a flat back. Nice tall spine. And then take your chin in a little bit, tucking the chin to get a little longer in the back of the neck. Allow that breath to come in. Bring that mindful piece in. I find it a little bit easier for me to do that mindful piece if I slow down. And then the idea here is to come back and be a little more straight. So I'm going to come back behind my sit bones, come back, but I'm not really rounding quite as much. So just not trying to use my legs, still belly, but a little flatter. And then finding your way back up again. That feel different? It feels different, doesn't it? We can still stay open and broad, but as you come back behind sit bones onto tail, and I think about staying a little more flat in my back and my low back especially. It's almost a yogic quality because we have that one where everybody's straight and then you put your legs out. We're not going to do that part, but so much rounded. Do that flat thing. Good. And then come back up. All right. Let's come to seated. And then right here, I'm going to take one hand down to the floor, one hand up. I'm going to see if I can leave the legs out of it. So can they release, belly in use a little bit to do that? And let's do a little side bend. And come down. I'll come ahead and come forward so you can see that. Staying kind of long, paying attention to those legs. Can they stay out of it? I just want to get some movement. Breath. And then let's go the other side. So we did 3 or 4. Let the legs go. My legs want to grab when I go over. See if I can bring it into my belly. Belly is helping support that side body. Good. And one more little one we'll do here for the belly. Get back behind, a little more of our rounded spine. And if you'd like, take the hands out in front, or you can hang on to the fronts of the legs and you can just do one arm. But I'm going to see if I can do both and get a little twist here. You could even bring your hands to genie position, twist. Now the tricky part here is not to twist too far and to not shift the legs. Boy, do they want to shift, right? You could come up a little bit higher so that, you know, the further back we go, the harder it is. A little bit easier to keep my legs from shifting the more up I am. So I give a couple of options. And then come back and go ahead and grab the legs. Good. All right, let's come up to our feet. Feeling a little bit of connection, ready to bring that connection into the rest of the body, standing. Do a quick move of some of my equipment here. And we're going to start with marching. So if you're working in the same way I am without any equipment, you can start marching. If you have equipment, go ahead and just start moving on that bicycle or rowing machine or stair stepper, whatever you have. Just gonna get moving a little bit. If you have that device or you want to check in with your heart rate, go ahead and check in and see where you're at. Likely doing the things we did on the mat doesn't really lift the heart rate that much. And if you are in that heat today, kind of even more nice to watch where the heart rate is going so that you can adapt. If your heart rate goes up and gets into that 3 or 4 zone, that you can come back down. And some of the things I'll be doing, it might kind of go in a little bit of a spiky manner because it's not simply being on the step or being on a bike where you can keep the same resistance and the same momentum, right? So starting to feel a little, even though it's not high knees, just a little march here. And then I'm going to bring my feet down. I want to connect in again mindfully to the body, to my feet, because we didn't really work on the feet. We have core probably feels a little bit alive, right? But let's go ahead and just take the shins forward, shins forward. And wherever that is, you can start real high with the pelvis staying up kind of high. A few more like that, shins forward. Good. And now take the feet, spreading the toes. If you're on a machine, you can be on your machine. If you're doing what I'm doing, I forgot I wanted to do a little bit of footwork, so should have mentioned that. We'll get the groove. Lifting the heels up and down. So no, don't worry about coming off of your bike if you're on it. Just keep on the bike, but bring your awareness into your feet and your ankles and feel some connection to that pedal if you're on a bike. Or if you're stepping up a stair, you have an elliptical or something like that, bring your awareness into the feet, kind of articulating a little bit. Good. Very nice. And then let's go ahead. Again, if you're following with me, I'm going to do some kicking back here. Kicking, heel back. And keeping the legs kind of in that marching place, but it's a nice kick in, warming up those hamstrings, stretching out the front a little bit. And let the exhale go. Still feeling your feet. And then that awareness coming up into your lower legs, to your knees, to your thighs. And then if you want to get a little wider with your step, if you are on the floor, stepping wide, a little bit bigger, and that's still doing that kick. Nice. Good. How's that heart rate going? I'm really feeling that in the muscles, but I could probably add a little bit of a jump or a bounce here to get going a little bit more for my heart rate. Good. And then I'm going to come back, bring those legs back in. Little march, or it could even be a little jog in place. Let's see if I can do that about a minute. If I wanted to make it harder, right, I could always lift my legs, knees up a little more. I'm just barely taking the feet off the floor, a little bounce. So we've got the heat and humidity at home, huh? Everybody's getting hydrated. Your skin feels really good though with all that humidity. Here we're just like, don't forget to drink water. Drink water. A lot drier, even though it's rainy season, we're getting rains overall. A little drier climate. All right, and come back. I want to do some punches. My arms involved here. So I'm just going to take this medium stance. Punch, punch, punch. It's nice that I've gotten that core involved already. Punch, punch. It's nice that I can feel the feet. I have these shoes that are really nice for my toes. There's a little bit of something on the bottom, but I can really feel also the floor, the ground. Even walking around, I can really feel those cobblestones here. Real lightweight. Barefoot's nice too. Don't feel like you have to go the same pace. Remember, all of our heart rates are going to be unique, right? And where we need to be. So if I wanted to, I could bring my hands up, punch, up, punch, little hop up, punch. Again, just looking for that zone 2. Without the jump. Good. Couple more here. Feels kind of nice. Get those arms moving. If you're on your machine, staying in the body. So really feeling your feet again, back to that awareness, feet, legs. How do the handles, if you have handles or the palms of your hands, even if they're not touching something, can you bring your awareness to that space in your body? Definitely got my heart rate a little bit more in that space. I'd like to have it. And take the feet wide and come into the sumo. Hands could be at my waist. Hands could be together, whatever you like. If you're following along with me. If not, you're staying in that sweet spot, zone 2. I see that there'll be some more high intensity workshops coming up or classes with Scott. If you're interested in what's that like after you have that nice base, you go out for long walks, you're in that zone 2 quite a bit. You're doing these classes. You want to do a little interval work sometimes. Scott will be teaching some of those classes. So could also do a sumo where I come down and come up, squat, jump. I'm going to walk that out. Little hop. I don't have much of a vertical and I'm not really going for that too much here. Squat. It's a little bit like what we might do on the step when I get back home next week. Actually, I think Scott's doing the class next week. Somebody is doing the class next week for me. So make sure you're here so you can have another teacher if you haven't taken. I'll be getting back from my trip next Monday. I thought maybe I'll be tired, a little tired from travel. Coming back to center. And take a big step, squat. Mindful cardio in that we stay present to our surroundings. Maybe you have an awareness of the quality of the air in your space. Let's meditate on that a little bit in the next 2 minutes. What's the quality of the air in your space? Is there a fan going? Are there natural breezes? The temperature and humidity or lack of humidity. It's pretty humid here actually, right now I would say. You hear me breathing? I'm definitely finding zone 2. So there's 2 ways to do this squat. You're thinking about the quality of the air yet. One is to let that leg on the inside be a little long. And one is to come down like both legs, both squatting, right? Little breeze here. Not a lot though. And coming back. Good. Checking in. How are you doing? Starting to feel that the body is warm Maybe it was warm to start with. Softening the jaw and face a little bit. Maybe smiling because you're moving your body. We're so lucky in this moment to be able to move, to be able to stay with some of the instructions of the wind or the quality of the air. These are gifts that it just feels good to recognize. I'm gonna do some marching. Well, it's like kind of a high knees thing, and then you tap the knees. You can get quicker with this if you want. Move the arms a little bit more, they get a little bit of a wave. Use those shoulder muscles. Very nice. I can't see you, but I know you're doing a good job. Sticking with it. If you're on your bike, if you're on your equipment, your stair, you're taking those travels. Remember, we stand up and come back. I'm gonna have to get used to that again. Using that stair. Coming back to just a nice march here. So you can keep your arms swinging, or you can take your arms here and tap out in front. A bit different. Maybe I'll tap all the way around in a circle. I think I'm doing some Russian dance. I don't know any Russian dances, but I think you can probably, I'm doing a little hop in here. You can simply step out and land each foot. Depends where heart rate is. And we could get a little more. At some point, we could do this with straight legs and switch out quickly. Harder to do. And I might spike in my heart rate just a little. Switching right off, going back to one foot out and switching quickly. Yes. Very good. Back to the sensations in your feet, in your hands, as you move, feeling the palms, feeling the feet. Maybe you feel that warmth in those places. I know when I'm in a hot day, the hands and feet for me are particularly warm. I want to dunk my feet in cold water. My hands radiate that heat. So maybe you just take notice, not something we have to fix, just noticing. All right. I am going to grab a weight here, maybe two. These are kind of heavy, so we'll see how my work goes today. Holding on to these a little bit. I'm going to use my elbows. We're going to work on some, you know what, I will pick those up in a minute so I can show you without. I'm going to work on some of those sprinter, I call them sprinter lunges or sprinter kicks. Some other people call them plyo power knees. So it's taking your knee up, right? Taking the knee up. And you could do with your hands together. And you can also tap in front. So you're taking your foot back and forward, tapping. And that's a good place to start. And we're building strength. And you can lift that knee if you want. Building strength in that standing leg. And as we go, tends to bring the heart rate up. I'm going to go ahead and grab these weights and see if I can, lower weights would be a little better. These are pretty big. And it's not so much I'm getting work for the arms, but my stability is challenged more. So my leg is really working to keep me standing. A little bit of work in my arms just to hold on. 3, 2, 1. And come back to a little walk. And let's go to the other side. So we start, get a little bit of a distance here, tap, a little lean forward, tap, tap, tap. And then maybe bringing that leg up. See if you can bring that leg back behind you. Pull it forward, whether it's forward here or the knee comes up. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, lost my balance a little bit. 1. Good. Get those weights down. Well, let's go to those butt kicks. Kicking back behind you. All right. How are we doing? Good. Hands and feet. Sense in the body. That measure we can use either by taking a count for 15 seconds to see where the heart rate is, or checking our apparatus, knowing that it could be a little bit delayed. If you're using that Apple Watch, could be a little delayed. Those chest straps, pretty darn accurate right in the moment. Forgot I was kicking up high. I'll do a couple more kick ups. All right. Head into some regular squats. And take my feet hip distance a little bit more, maybe. Squat and come back up. Could have some weight. Good. How are you doing? I'm getting into a little bit beyond my zone 2. Slow it down. I'm gonna leave the weights down, squat, lift the heels, squat, lift the heels. Spread those toes out inside the shoes. Couple more. Squat, lift the heels. Squat, lift the heels. Oh, that did it. Those squats, they get into the heart rate a little bit. So a little bit of a spike for me. So let's bring it into a little march and see if it can come back into that zone 2 a little bit. How's it going on your equipment? Or are you following along with me? How is it going? What makes your heart rate come up? Does the heat do that? Does a particular movement do that? Sticking in there pretty good on your, pretty well on your zone 2. I'm gonna do some lunges. I'm gonna go ahead and take 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Make sure you can see my feet. And with that lunge, you could have some weights, lighter weights if you'd like. I'm gonna do a little hook and come back up. Hook. We did this one the last time that we were live. Kind of doing a little flexing with my arms that come in. You can do as much or as little as you'd like with that hook. Good. Go ahead and switch it up. Come back to standing. Other side forward. Other foot back. And squatting. Hook. 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 Start real kind of with a contracted movement first. You don't have to swing that arm as hard as you can and squeeze it as hard as you can, but maybe it doesn't have to go way out there. And then once that shoulder feels nice and fluid here, maybe you want to swing a little and give it a nice, good squeeze. Slow it down if the heart rate is starting to go up a lot. Slow it down, or don't even come down as far in your squat, in your lunge. Good. Ooh. And then step the feet up. Reading my notes, what's next? Do a little tap here. Tapping side to side. All right. Take those feet wide. We're gonna come down into the squat, the sumo squat. We're gonna do some punch across. Take it easy again. To start, stay closer to the body. Get that little twist for the upper body set slowly. And then if you want to be more aggressive, as you feel comfortable, go ahead and punch a little more. Feeling your legs, a little bit of that strength portion. Good. You always come up a little bit in your squat. Keep punching. All right, and then step underneath. Good, and march it out again. Go side to side or march in place. Good, we're about right on time here. Got in a good section of keeping that heart rate there. Do one more we did last time. And we're gonna work with the weights just a little bit more. So let's go ahead and take the feet wide and we're gonna go ahead and reach down. So we reached across earlier. And you can start there. And then it's like, can I reach toward my knee or my shin or even to the floor? Now I've got these long arms, so probably seems really a little bit easier maybe. It's like a reach, a reach, a reach. And you can kind of switch, get into a groove with it, moving your feet. Again, I could come all the way to the floor if I want. I know it's hot there for you. I could jump in the middle, reach across, jump, reach across. Just stick with the reaching across. I want to keep talking to you. And then coming to standing. Kind of slow it down a little bit. Grab your weights. Work on those biceps a little bit. Traveling, I use what I have. I do have elastics here. I do have therapy band. But at this place, we tend to we have a couple of weights. 10 pounds are kind of heavy, but I can do biceps with them, just not as many. So we talk about in the strength class, if we have a heavier weight, we just don't do as many reps. If we have a lighter weight, you can usually do more, 12 to 20 reps. With lighter weights, it's 6 to 10. Or sorry, with heavier weights, 6 to 10. So that's it for me there. And that, so I have my heart rate going. I'm just gonna keep letting that come down. As long as I have these weights here, I'm gonna probably do one side at a time, coming from the side body all the way up, pressing overhead and coming back down. Overhead and back down. Overhead, back down, overhead. Good. So if you have lighter weights, you could definitely be doing both of these. Overhead and back down. I'm able to do it, but I like concentrating on one side for now, till I get used to this weight. One more set. Shoulder blade gets to do all the things with that. Good. Okay. I'm gonna take a little bit heavier weight. You can take one of your heavy weights, and I'm gonna hang on to both ends of it and take it overhead. And I'll turn sideways so you can see what I'm gonna do with it. I can bring it down behind and take it up and up. So if you have lighter weights, just keep them both in your hands. Keep your elbows pulled in a little bit so they're almost pointing forward if they can be. And then you'll take those weights up. And again, this is heavier weight for me. So I'm gonna call it quits in 2. Form is starting to fail for me. You can feel that that resistance. I'm going to take that in front. Good. All right, let's just do some opening flies here. If you have lighter weights, 5s or less, you can go ahead and keep those weights there. I could grab cans of beans, something light. Forward a little bit with my torso. The more forward I go, the more I'm pushing against gravity, right? And be thinking about the back. It feels nice to open in the front, but your shoulder blades get to open and close. They get to come forward and then together, and all those muscles work. Even without any weights, I've added my own kind of resistance, right? I'm flapping my wings, but it's like it's a windy day. So there's resistance here, squeeze, and even here, squeeze and squeeze. And then bringing the arms down, come to standing. Heart rate's still up there. Mine too, definitely didn't come down there yet. I'm gonna go ahead and take a roll down. Try not to work with your breath. It's really tricky for me. I did a lot of years of yoga, so it seems like we use the breath a lot there. In Pilates, we do too. So just go ahead and take your roll down for the physical feeling of that, not to organize the breath. And go ahead and come forward. Breath. Let the shoulders go. I mean, just notice your breathing. Try not to use the breath, but you can just notice the exhale and come back up. And then I'll come sideways so you can see. We started with rounding the spine. We're going to do that in standing. Taking the arms out nice and wide. Take your belly back and let your pelvis tip under. So normally I wouldn't give that instruction for any other reason, but that we're going to actually pull the belly back, get nice and rounded. And then take the arms out and reach the arms out. Taking the head and arms and fingertips out front as you continue to pull back with the belly. And then come up to stand and find neutral, especially in the pelvis. So let your tail come back to neutral. And then let's do that again. So I'm actually tipping the pelvis, tipping the tail under a little bit. Belly is working, taking the low back, and then reaching with the arms. We often will do that on the floor, right? Spine stretch. You could even take it at a different angle if you'd like. See how that feels. Keep pulling back. And then come on up to stand. Let's take that complete roll down again. Chin toward the chest. Rolling down. Letting the breath do what it wants to do, including maybe the exhale gets longer. And then coming up. And then with your feet underneath you, with your pelvis in neutral. So let your tail be free. Let your knees have a little bounce to them, a little bit of bend. You can feel your feet. And finished. I recommend, if it is really warm in your space or you're feeling like this practice was pretty, lots of energy out and maybe energy in too, just taking a break. I probably will after I shut off the camera here, just rest a few moments on my back or sit on a chair and just let everything cool down, especially if it's warm there. It's not warm here, and I'm probably from the elevation, still feel like I need that little bit more chill time, 5 minutes, and then I'll be ready to kind of continue on the day. So I won't see you next week, but I'll see you after that. I'm also subbing some classes, so check the calendar in the online thing to see other classes that we're doing lots of helping for each other in the summer here for traveling. So see you again soon. Stay well, stay cool. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks, Ingrid. That was a great workout. I'm doing it
Good,
in air conditioning, but
good. That's the best way, right? Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Thanks for the note.
Have a good trip back.
Yes, thank you.